Welcome. Thank you for coming. Those of you standing should know that there are seats scattered around, so please feel free to come in and sit down, take a load off. It's the end of the day. So thank you for coming. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that we are on the land of the Coast Salish peoples, which touch the shared waters of the tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. And we do this as a way to honor and recognize the original people on this land and to remind us that we are guests here. I am Joy Williamson-Lott. I am the Dean of the Graduate School since July and also a faculty member in the College of Education, and I'm very glad to be able to be here with you today. So today we have a different type of Provost Town Hall if you've attended town halls in the past. If you haven't already noticed, it's a different flavor to it, a welcome one. In a bit, Provost Mark Richards will talk about his priorities, academic excellence, graduate education, the arts, and the impact of the university's work. But first, we will hear more from the Gamelan Ensemble, led by Professor Christina Sunardi, who's an associate professor and chair of ethnomusicology. So please, you're welcome. Thank you, Gamelan Ensemble students, thank you so much, and thank you also for this wonderful way to kick off this event. They have things they need to do, so they will be leaving. They're busy people. So now, we will hear from graduate student and Achievement Rewards for College Scientists Fellow, ARCS, ARCS is the acronym, Gabriela Tosado. She joins a large community of ARCS Fellows here at the University of Washington who have been generously supported by the Seattle ARCS Foundation since 1978. Mark and I had the pleasure of seeing her present at an ARCS luncheon back in the fall. It was outstanding, no pressure today. Mark felt strongly, and I wholeheartedly agree, that this audience should learn more about the type of research that happens here at the University of Washington and what our graduate students are doing and all the different possibilities. So please help me welcome soon-to-be Profesora Tosado in June. She will tell us all about it. Help me welcome her. She's going to be talking about her research in clean energy and the impact that her work will have on our future. Gabriela.
Hello, I'm Gabriela, and I graduated from the University of Miami with degrees in chemistry, environmental policy, and religious studies, and now I'm getting my degree in none of those things. I really wanted my career and my life to focus on solutions to climate change. For my PhD, I decided to transition to engineering to create clean energy solutions to sustain our energy needs. I decided to attend the University of Washington because the Clean Energy Institute was just starting out, and I wanted to be on the ground floor of that institute. The ARCS Fellowship Program allowed me to afford moving here in the first place in the world's best mother-daughter road trip all the way from Miami of 2015. When I started here in the chemical engineering department, as you can imagine, a non-engineer being thrown into graduate level courses, it was a bit of a challenge and required a bit of a learning curve. I really did doubt at that time whether I was capable and had the ability to get through those courses. But the support from ARCS and the university really helped me with encouragement. I was told, we chose you, and we know that you have the ability to do this. And that encouragement is what really helped me get through that time. Fingers crossed, in June, I will be graduating with a dual title PhD in chemical engineering, nanoengineering, and molecular engineering. My research in Professor Chu-Ming Yu's lab focuses on solar energy with perovskite solar cells, which is a new type of printable material. So you could use newspaper-style printing presses to print out solar panels, and that would decrease the cost substantially. My research focuses on making this new material more stable and less toxic. I've also been involved in the Puerto Rico project in the Clean Energy Institute with Professor Lilo Pozzo. When Hurricane Maria struck Puerto Rico, the electrical grid was knocked offline, with some places not receiving electricity for almost a year. We created solar battery systems and gave them to certain communities and homes to power medical devices, such as oxygen concentrators for people with asthma, or mini fridges to store vaccines and medicines. We showed that not only did these solar battery systems help the people who received them, because over the course of the year, gas generators do become very costly and begin to break down, but also that renewable energy can help make our grid more resilient to stronger storms, which will become more frequent as we move forward. For the next part of my career, I'm changing my field again, this time to the realm of policy. Throughout my PhD, I've learned that although technological innovation is very important, a roadblock is on the policy front and enacting the policy to support renewable energies. I hope to apply for the AAAS Fellowship that places science PhD graduates in government and policy positions. So I would love to work for either the renewable energy offices or as a nano consultant for the State Department, so I'm super hyped. And I hope to use the expertise that I've gained here over the past 5 years to enact fact-based policy. I'd like to thank all of you, my department, the CEI, and ARCS for their support and supporting scientists and researchers of the future, and especially my donor Elizabeth Rudolph and my advisor, Professor Chiming Yu, my family, and my friends. It really does take a village to raise a PhD student. Thank you.
Not only is her research impressive, but those of you who've ever done public speaking, I have my notes. She stood up here by herself and made her way through. But I'm going to now read to you from my notes. Hola, Señora Tosada. She's watching, right? Yep, that's her mom. Okay, so what you've heard is exactly what Provost Richards is passionate about. Research, interdisciplinarity, innovation, graduate education. To make this happen, Mark has chosen to focus on core investments, which he'll talk about in a minute. But a bit about Mark first. Provost Richards joined the University of Washington about 1.5 years ago, after several years as a teacher, researcher, and leader at some other institution in California, Berkeley. We're glad to have him here. And in addition to serving as this university's chief academic and budget officer, Mark is also a professor in Earth and Space Sciences in the College of the Environment. And he knows firsthand that the work of all faculty and the success of the university would be impossible without graduate students and fellowships to support them. And so Mark is going to be talking about his graduate funding task force in a minute, but I want to say that in the relatively short time that I've known him and worked with him, that I've come to appreciate his recognition and support for our collective efforts to attract and recruit the top graduate students. And in order to do that, to recruit the top graduate students, it's important to think about how welcoming and inclusive the university context is. And this is something else that I've learned about Mark, is how committed he is to equity, particularly in the realm of graduate education. So I'm honored that he and his family have chosen to demonstrate that commitment through a personal donation to GoMap in the graduate school. GoMap stands for Graduate Opportunities and Minority Achievement Program, and it's celebrating its 50th year of service to the university and to students, ensuring that graduate students of color are supported through fellowships, professional development, mentoring, and a whole host of other possibilities out of that office. And so their generous gift comes at a particularly meaningful time for GoMap and the graduate school, and we are deeply appreciative of it. So today, Mark will address the importance of making core investments in order to advance access and excellence throughout the university, and he'll highlight just a few ways in which we are making an impact in our city, our state, and in our world. So thank you for coming and for watching this afternoon, and please help me welcome Provost Mark Richards.
Thank you so much, Joy. I'm really honored to be here. I'm happy to have an opportunity to speak a little bit about what we're trying to do to make this a better university and fulfill our mission. First of all, to Gabriella, I made a note to myself a long time ago to never speak after a student. Brilliant. Thank you very much. We professors always pale in comparison, but really exciting to hear what you're doing. Also to the ARCS Foundation, Sarah Watt is here representing them. We're deeply appreciative to their longstanding commitment to fulfilling our goals for graduate education, as Joy mentioned. And for the Gamelan Ensemble, I used to be a musician of sorts, and some famous musician once said that the music of Johann Sebastian Bach was like hearing the sound of the mind at work. And listening to the gamelan, which just fills this room in a way I've never heard, is like listening to the sound of the soul at work. Thank you so much to Christina and the gamelan ensemble. This is just a real treat for all of us. And I'm sure whatever I say is going to pale by comparison to, to that experience. I want to welcome particularly two of our regents, Joel Benalil and Rogelio Riojas, who are attending with us today. We're always happy to have our regents here, and I can say from experience from other institutions that there is no group of regents in this country who love the university and support the university the way our regents do. It's greatly appreciated and makes our jobs go better. Thank you. I want to go off script here for just a second on behalf of both myself and President Kause before I get on script again. Our university and our nation, indeed the whole world, are going through a period of great anxiety and uncertainty. Not the least because of the coronavirus outbreak that has affected our international students and scholars, but also because of, political tensions that are really unprecedented in recent times. So perhaps this is an especially important time for us to meditate upon the fact that as a great public university, guided by values of equity and inclusion, and of providing an education that is both excellent and accessible, and as an engine of discovery and hope, we, in this room and in this university, occupy a very special place. And we a very special obligation to our society. This can feel like a burden at times, but is also a great privilege. In many cases, we represent the best path to a better future for our students and for their families and for the world. As we double down on this obligation in troubled times, let us also recall that kindness and tolerance and understanding still go a long way in this world. We will make mistakes. We will always fall short of our aspirations. But we'll also benefit from each other's care and support and goodwill. Now, let's get down to business. When President Kause speaks in her State of the University, it's a more outward-looking speech. The Provost is more of the plumber and a little bit more inward-looking. And we're going to talk about a lot of the plumbing today. First, I'm going to talk about core investments in the university on several fronts, perhaps not comprehensive, but at least representative. These investments, of course, they're a means to an end. We're trying to be a great university by our president's command, the greatest university as measured by impact. And we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of challenges. First of all, we invest in talent and in people. And we have, especially in leadership. And the past year, we have hired some fabulous leaders for this campus. Joy Williamson-Lott is our new dean for graduate school. Nancy Albritton is our new dean for the College of Engineering. Frank Hodge is our new dean for the Foster School of Business. And Gary Kyoto is our new official dean for the School of Dentistry. Magda Balazinska is our new director of Computer Science and Engineering. And if I can step aside as a former dean of mathematical and physical sciences somewhere else, I want to note that our dean for natural sciences, our director for CSE, and our dean for engineering are all women. I don't know of any other research university in the country at this stature who can say that, and we're really happy about it. We also have a search underway for an inspiring new dean for the Evans School. We also just recently appointed Francois Benix from Chemical Engineering as our new Vice Provost for Innovation and the Director for Commotion. We've established under Francois's leadership and others in Commotion a new innovation roundtable bringing together business leaders and entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, et cetera, to optimize our tech transfer and our general innovation system. And with the development of West Campus, there's going to be lots of opportunity there as well. We all recognize that the cost of living in Seattle has increased more rapidly than the cost of living in the country as a whole, and yet our resources have not. To the extent that we're able to pay faculty and staff, they track what we're allowed to do with tuition and what the state provides, and it doesn't match. And that provides a terrific challenge to us. One area where we have made some progress is this is the first year that we've had a housing assistance program for attracting young faculty to campus. We can't do this for everybody, but certainly if you're a junior faculty member trying to move into this environment and provide a home for your family, this is something that we really feel like we have to do, not just because it's the right thing, but because to keep us competitive, frankly, to get these people. And have made several of these awards in the past year, and I think the deans have found them to be quite valuable in helping us attract the best faculty to continue coming here despite these challenges. The West Campus Development Plan, recently approved by the City of Seattle with some hooks that I'll talk about later, also provides the opportunity for us to begin contemplating affordable housing for faculty, for students, for staff, et cetera. And that's something I think we have to look forward to in the not too distant future. I also want to mention that our academic senate has been busy, and we have now officially, or about to now officially, elevate the status of our lecturers to the title of teaching professors at the University of Washington. Go ahead and clap. This addresses issues of equity and professionalism and our commitment to teaching and obviously the contributions of these wonderful people to our institution. Joy set me up to talk about graduate support. I won't spend too much of my time on that, but we have made new efforts to provide support for graduate students, and especially PhD students, who in many cases are kind of the most in need in the long term of this kind of support. And this is obviously to increase the attractiveness of the University of Washington to our best applicants, but these types of funds also, as any of us who are in the recruiting business know, they increase the diversity, our ability to recruit a diverse pool of graduate students. We have frankly been quite behind our peer institutions, R1 universities, in this respect. I'll just put it in direct perspective. Up until this past year, we have had, in addition to ARCS, we've had only about $3.5 million a year going into kind of discretionary support for graduate students. Our competitors typically put in $20 to $30 million a year into this. And so we have increased this by about $7 million a year with a combination of institutional funds and matching. Joy's in charge of this. We're seeking feedback on how this is working and how to do it better. But I think that the results will come through. So, the difficult challenge among many. We have over $2 billion of deferred maintenance lying around on this campus. We have a lot of nice buildings that have been renovated. We have more buildings that are way overdue. And we have a challenge that is really a responsibility in terms of what is this university going to look like 10, 20, 30 years from now? What do we leave to the future generations to the state of Washington? And you'll see that there's lots of visible progress. We will open the new population health building this fall. It's spectacular. We just opened the new computer science building, just won a major architectural award, I believe. For second time in a row, we've won that award. And the other award was for the biological sciences building, which we opened just recently as well. We're about to open Oak Hall, a new residence hall, which completes a 10-year student residence renewal project or master plan. And these involve choices. I want to say this. The capital investment are the debt capacity that went into financing our new residence halls is debt capacity that we could use elsewhere, and we're very limited in that regard.
But talk about investments, $650 million
Yeah.
in the fossil fuel industry alone. That's the UW endowment, $650
Can we save this for Can we save this for questions at the end, please?
Yeah.
You'll have an opportunity for that.
There won't be time for future generations that you're talking about in this.
In addition to Oak Hall.
Stop her work, the very important work of Gabriella.
Yeah, you're interrupting my chance to speak, and there's a question period at the end, and I invite you to take advantage of that. Oak Hall will be open to new students in the fall. Haggett Hall will be closed and condemned. It's a major seismic hazard, and that we are happy to be rid of. There may be a replacement someday, but that's not clear. We're renovating Eagleson Hall for our speech and hearing. We have projects in the works, are on the drawing boards to eventually address Miller Hall and Anderson Hall and perhaps Bagley Hall in the future. Bothell has just received funding for a new STEM building, joint with the Cascadia Community College, which is about to start construction soon. And Tacoma is in planning phases for Milgard Hall, which will house both business and engineering design, and it's in design phase. So there's going to be a lot of activity here in terms of construction. And I will tell you this also, that we can do a lot better job of planning this construction, and with Lou Cariello, our Vice President for Facilities, we are working very hard to get a longer range outlook on how we go about these projects and how we fund them. And I think there's no doubt we're going to be training more of our attention on restoration than new construction. We are not slated to grow a lot in the next decade or so in terms of student capacity. In my opinion, we have a lot of space on campus, but not all of it is well utilized. And we have a lot of beautiful buildings, some of them old, that need a lot of attention in addition to seismic upgrade and safety, basic safety. So I do think that you're going to see a change in emphasis as we go forward from a lot of the new construction that's going on now and construction that will be activity to be taking place. I also should have mentioned the two other new buildings just to give you an idea of how much a transition this would be. We have new, largely state-funded buildings for interdisciplinary engineering science and also for health sciences education, which they will add a lot of capacity and excellent teaching and research spaces and so forth. But we have a lot of work to do on the infrastructure for this campus. Last but not least, I want to mention that we are undertaking a project to restore the music and art buildings to higher function and better capacity for their good work. And I was really happy to have the Gamelon group remind you of the fact that, in my opinion, and I mentioned many people in this room feel the same way, what is a great university without great arts, without students who have the opportunity to participate in arts and be enriched by them, whether they're engineers or sociologists or mathematicians. We are anticipating probably a $12 or maybe $14 million project that will restore many of the facilities in art and music. This involves 2-to-1 matching, and maybe not in the ratio you're thinking. This is 2 parts university and college and 1 part donor. So if there's anybody in here who finds that an attractive proposition, Catherine Cole, our Dean for the Division of Humanities, is right here. Division of Arts, excuse me, is right here, and she will sign you up. But we're excited about this. I don't think Catherine would mind my saying that $12 million goes a long way in the arts, and we're really excited about being able to undertake this project as well. Another major project is finance transformation. This is the most unglamorous thing you could imagine us putting our resources into. But let me ask you a question. I want a show of hands. How many of you know how to program in COBOL? You're hired. Because our system was written in 1974 in COBOL. I actually know how to program COBOL too, I hate to admit. And the people who know how to do that are either passed away or retiring. We are going to have to skip several generations of financial tools to run this university properly and put it on a better financial basis, just so we can understand our own budgets and our own spending and optimize what we're doing. This is a $270 million project. It's the cost of a very large building, if you want to think of it that way. We're not the only university in the country undertaking this. We have, partners in misery with Ohio State and a number of other universities who are going through this. We went through this when I was at Berkeley. It was not fun. Actually, there is nothing about this that will be fun. I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be painfully hard. But it's not just our financial systems going to Workday and a cloud system that we're going to change. We have to change the way we work. So this involves a lot of restructuring of our processes, our business processes on the campus. In fact, that's the hardest part, is redoing the chart of accounts and figuring out how people can work better and smarter and how we can improve their skills and their careers in this process. So Brian McCartan, our Vice President for Finance, is in charge of this operation, and wish him luck and give him all help and support. I do not want to paint any rosy picture here. This is going to be a huge challenge for the university for the next 2 or 3 years. But if we don't do it, we're sunk. We have to do this. There is no choice about doing something like this. And one might say that we're about 2 decades behind the curve on doing it. In the past year, kind of on the side of student and access and academic excellence, over 70% of our incoming students this year are Washington State residents across the campuses. We have enrollment just shy of 60,000. We have the largest number of undergraduate students from the state of Washington here at Seattle that we've ever had. About 15% of our students are international students. The absolute numbers of our underrepresented minority students are at an all-time high as well, but we still have a lot of work to do there, and I can tell you that a lot of work is going on. I want to point out that the Washington College Grant program that was renamed, relabeled, and re-energized by the legislature this year is very good for our students. It means that we can reach farther up into the middle class and help students afford the total cost of going to college. But I also want to point out, in case there's any illusion about this, that legislation does not help us pay our bills here on the campus at all. It's good for deferring the cost of education for our students, which is good and is hailed as a national model, and that's a great thing. It does not add to our coffers in terms of tuition income or state support or whatever. And I know that there's been a lot of confusion about exactly what that means. So I'm sounding like the Grim Reaper here a little bit at this point in my talk, but you got to hear it. We have a lot. I've been impressed since I came to the University of Washington at the degree to which the value of diversity has become not something that we add on as a fix to what we do, but something that we do integrally with everything we do. It's faculty hiring or recruiting students, promotions, and academic interests. So I really am quite impressed. We have a lot of work to do, but the spirit of diversity permeates this university, and I really want to congratulate all the leadership and everybody in the university for making progress. As Joy mentioned, the GOMAP project of 50 years is central to our ability to recruit and sustain students of color through successful graduate programs. I think I'm allowed to say that there will be a new name in April, but we don't know what it is.
You have to stay tuned.
What?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yes.
I'm excited to know what the new name will be. But obviously, we're very proud of this program, and this remains central to what we're trying to do, especially at the graduate level. We also, many of you, I won't ask for a show of hands, but I'm hoping that all of you filled out your climate survey that we asked you to do. And that survey is now complete. It will take a while to analyze the results. They'll be coming, I think, in May or so. And along with our diversity blueprint and the race and equity initiative of President Cauce's, this is going to help inform what we do to be a more inclusive campus climate for everyone. I want to point out that, in my experience with surveys of this nature, when you have robust results that you can kind of take to the bank, you often find surprises. You find things that you didn't know or that you didn't expect. Often you get results that are ambiguous and frustrating. So I think that the way we absorb this information, the way we act upon it, requires a lot of thought. It's not over. Just getting the results is not the end, but trying to figure out how to make us a better university in light of those results is challenging. We also, there's no secret whatsoever, we have a lot, I've spoke about anxiety, we have a long way to go in terms of attending to student mental health and student health in general on the campus. We have 2 task forces heavily at work who are going to be reporting out very soon on mental health and on the Hall Health Student Health Center. They are in tight coordination. They're not off on their own independently. And I will tell you that President Kause and I and the leadership of the campus, we are determined to get a lot better and to understand the underlying causes, the underlying anxieties and difficulties that our students are having with health care in general, and particularly with issues of mental health. And we know that we're not isolated here at the University of Washington. Every major university I know of is wrestling with this and being confronted with an increase in suicide, increase in a whole range of problems. I can't say that, I don't know of anybody who thinks they understand all the forces generating this, but it's real, and we are determined that we'll make this a better place for student mental health and for student health in general. We have a lot of challenges in terms of sometimes the gap between what our students say they would like to major in coming into the door here and where we have capacity. There's no secret about where those capacity limitations are. It's largely in computer science and engineering and natural sciences. We are making progress this year. We have some new admissions policies for direct admissions. We are policing those policies with great vigor to preserve diversity in the process, and I think that my understanding is that engineering and computer science have actually managed to increase their diversity while undergoing direct admissions, and that's actually hard. They've worked very hard on that, and we appreciate it very much. We're not there yet. We have a long way to go. But I will tell you about something that I think may help in a different kind of a way. We, through the good efforts of a task force headed by Magda Balazinska, formerly director of eScience, and then Tyler McCormick, professor in both sociology and statistics, we are likely to soon have a data science minor on this campus that is specifically tailored for non-STEM students. We have data science minors for STEM students, both undergraduates and graduates, but the idea basically is that any student who comes here with a basic high school math background should be able to acquire, use, and enjoy the modern age of digital science. And we are providing the opportunity for non-STEM departments, humanities and social sciences in particular, to hire faculty who will bring digital skills, data science skills, to their traditional fields, and will be teaching courses that will allow for courses fulfilling this minor to be taught in the major areas that the students are pursuing. And I will guarantee you, having spoken quite a bit to people in industry, that a person with a philosophy degree and a data science minor, or a sociology degree and a data science minor, an anthropology degree and data science minor, they are very hireable. And frankly, I think we have a lot of students coming here because their parents or their college counselors may be saying, get an engineering degree. Nothing against engineering. I have an engineering degree myself, Nancy, sorry about that. But we do want students to be able to pursue their passions and get a job at the same time. And I think that this is I'm very excited about this, and I think we're charting new territory here at the University of Washington, and that this is going to be valuable in helping us with this question of overcrowding in certain majors and so forth. We'll see how it plays out. But one thing I know for sure is that having the option to get a data science minor for non-STEM majors is going to be a good thing for many, many students. The university continues to have major impact, both regionally and the world. Our total economic impact here regionally is 15.7 billion as of 2018. We're responsible for about 100,000 jobs, and our economic impact has increased by over 55% just in the last decade in constant dollars. So the impact of this university on this region is mushrooming, and we really should not underestimate the central importance of this university for the people of Washington, the Puget Sound region, and really for the country. Our fundraising campaign has been quite successful. We set a goal of $5 billion. I've been allowed by our development people to say that that goal is now $6 billion, and we expect to reach it. That's really quite remarkable. However, I caution that the bulk of those funds are, of course, deeply appreciated and important to what we do in our excellence overall. But they do not address the core needs of the university for the most part. Our ability to pay faculty, our ability to pay staff, our ability to maintain our infrastructure, provides scholarships and financial aid for students. A lot of that money is scholarships, but it's not the Washington College grant is a bigger factor. So we cannot rest too lightly on achieving this magnificent goal, but without those funds, we would be in deep trouble as well. I want to mention that the Carnegie Foundation this past year awarded all 3 campuses of the University of Washington classification for community engaged campuses. That is no mean achievement. There are people in this room, there's one person in particular who asked me not to mention his name, but there are a number of people involved in this that we thank you very much. And this really reflects the university's commitment to our communities and our partnership with the region, and really everywhere from Seattle Central District to the Yakima Valley, we are committed to this impact, and it's growing. How am I doing? Okay, I've got a few more things to mention. One of the things that really impresses me, is most impressive about the University of Washington compared to other large state research universities, is the level of engagement of our undergraduate students in research. It's really quite phenomenal. The Mary Gates Endowment is a large part of this, what goes on in undergraduate academic affairs, but we have thousands of students every year who are engaged in research. Everything from Bothell students going to Mount St. Helens and examining the restoration of plant life after the volcano. And I had to say that because I'm a geophysicist. And I like death and destruction, but I'm not talking about dinosaurs today. So. And then we have the Tacoma Whole Child Initiative, which is an incredibly successful community outreach, research-based project, wherein, when partnering with the Tacoma School District, K through 12 students over the last 10 years, the graduation rates have risen from 55% to 90%. And that is in no small part due to the engagement of the University of Washington Tacoma campus with the community of Tacoma. Our health sciences enterprise here is really remarkable. We have 6 health sciences schools. And as I mentioned, those 6 deans, I really want to take my hat off to them. They came together in a way that was not obvious at the beginning to develop a plan for a new health sciences education building on the south side of Pacific Avenue that will integrate health sciences instruction, modernize it. There will be a new anatomy lab, which is desperately needed as well. Along with this, of course, is the Population Health Initiative and the Population Health Building. Obviously, the Gates Foundation played a huge role in this, but as the world's leading foundation focused in this area, they have given us a huge vote of confidence, and we have to deliver. And I can tell you that the deans and the faculty and the students are anticipating the opening of that building in October, and we plan to be the world's leading institution in this broad area of population health. And I think we're on our way to doing that, and you're going to see fantastic things come. For example, I know, well, first of all, I should mention that the initiative is being largely built around something many of you may know about, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, otherwise known as the SDGs. And a project that is about to be launched is a project on the topic perhaps euphemistically known as, as vaccine hesitation and the need for valid public information to make population health at the University of Washington the go-to site in the world for information for practitioners of public policy, public health policy, for teachers, for government policymakers, et cetera. This is the kind of impact that we're looking for. We are also enormously excited about the new Center for an Informed Public, which is rooted in the eScience Institute and the data science, the School of Information, but is really, it touches everything from the law school to computer science to statistics. I'm leaving out a lot of departments, obviously philosophy, anthropology. I don't have to tell you that we are in a crisis of truth in the world and brought on by pressures of the digital revolution. This initiative, funded by the Knight Foundation, which is a journalism support foundation largely, is getting enormous traction. I hear about this from many different places outside of the University of Washington as I travel around. And my understanding is that Microsoft is keenly interested in this and wanting to be a good company and to have the information age more rooted in morality and ethics than perhaps it is right now. So we're really excited about that initiative. Lastly, I want to mention that we are getting underway in a big way with Earth Lab in my own college, the College of the Environment. This is in part a research engine, in part a community catalyst, and it's going to energize the private sector, the nonprofit community leaders, and towards science-based solutions to help us save this planet, and more to the point, to preserve the environment that we are accustomed to living in. University of Washington has always been a leader in this area. The West Campus development may provide new opportunities in this regard, and this one's close to home, and we're really proud of this as well. So there's a lot going on here. I have not talked about a lot of things that many of you are probably concerned about, because I know you want to go home at some point. But I did want to give you the sense that, in a university like this, we have a lot of expectations on our shoulders. We are very limited in the resources that we have, except for the most important resource we have, which is people. And the people, the faculty, the staff, and the students, and the alumni in this university community are amazing. And President Kelsey and I wake up every morning and literally ask ourselves, how do we keep doing this? Because we kind of know all too well just how on the edge we are when it comes to keeping the lights on and keeping the various constituencies, all of whom have important arguments for why they need more resources and so forth. But I'm very proud to be part of this university. An awful lot of what I've talked about here has to do with interdisciplinary work across all fields, everything from music to computer science, et cetera. I just want to end on a quick note, pointing out we just awarded the 3 undergraduate medalists for the university last week. And I just want to point out, Piper Coyner is a freshman studying Near Eastern languages and cinema. And Luis Maliam, if I got that name right, is from Thailand. He is a sophomore who is going to get degrees in both computer science and dance. And Renee Zhang is a junior from Oregon, and she's pursuing dual degrees in medicine and music. And that's really, I don't think I could express to you more clearly the magic of this university, the range of opportunity, of discovery, of intellectual adventure. Literally a university that brings the whole world to our students and eventually sends our students out into the world. That's what we're trying to do. We're imperfect, but we're trying to get better. Thank you very much. So I think Phil Reed is going to shepherd the question period here, and I'm going to do my best not to stumble in answering them.
Great. Thank you, Mark.
Sure.
Thank you all for coming. We have about 8 minutes for questions. If you have a question, raise your hand and a microphone will be brought to you. If you could give us your name and your affiliation, your academic unit or unit, that would be great. If we don't get to your question, you can submit them to provost@uw.edu and you will receive an answer via email. And the last bit of bookkeeping here, we have a reception immediately following the Q&A session right outside the doors of this room, and we encourage everybody to come and attend. So let's start with, if we get a microphone, if one member of the team get a microphone to somebody, I want to start, while we do that, I want to start with an online question. Some were submitted in advance. This has to do with safety, Mark?
With what?
With safety.
Yes,
Safety.
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and
yes.
basically, I need bifocals. There seems to be an increase in violent crime around the campus and the university district. We used to get UW alerts about cell phones and backpacks being grabbed at 3 a.m. Now we get frequent UW alerts about suspects with weapons committing crimes during the middle of the day. Could you please share with us what the leadership of the UW is doing to address the increase in violent crime in our area?
Yeah, I understand that question. I appreciate it. I worry about it a lot. This is, obviously the safety of our students and our personnel is the first order of business around here. We do not control policing in the U District. UWPD cooperates extensively with Seattle PD, but it is the territory that is owned, if you will, by Seattle PD. Strangely, and I'm not going to defend this statement, Seattle PD says that in the last year, violent crime has actually decreased in the U District. Personal property crime has probably increased, and there is no doubt that the sense of personal safety in the U District has been diminished. So our Vice President for Student Life, Denzel Sweet, to whom UWPD reports, is in almost constant contact with Seattle PD. Seattle PD is having a hard time recruiting officers at all right now, is my understanding. But there is a lot of attention to this. I don't think that's going to be quick comfort to anybody in this room. I want you to know that President Kelsey and I, and Denzel in particular, are really, really concerned about this. We are doing our best to hold Seattle PD's toes to the fire on their responsibilities. There is the problem that when you solve, if you have a few blocks here where you've kind of fixed the problem for a while, it tends to move elsewhere. So this is, I'm not blaming Seattle PD, but this is a really challenging problem, and we are absolutely committed to making it better.
Next question we have right here, please.
Hi, I'm Keisha Clune. I'm a resident physician here, so that's part of the graduate medical education department. Me and my colleagues are concerned about recruiting the next class of resident physicians, something that we do every year. We want to recruit talented and diverse residents, but given that our contracts are significantly lagging behind our peer institutions in issues like compensation, leave time, and other wellness initiatives, we're seeing our recruitment metrics go down annually. We also find that there are decades of research on this, that a more diverse group of doctors delivers better care to their community. The resident physicians at UW make up 20% of the doctors in King County, so we're finding that this issue is not only one of recruiting talented, diverse candidates to our institution, but also one of the health of our community. What is UW doing to address this disparity?
Thanks for the question. We're keenly aware of those concerns, and they are primarily in the ballpark of UW Medicine Medical School. And because there are active negotiations about the subjects that you bring up, I really can't comment any further except to say that we are very aware and very concerned, and we really appreciate. I will tell you, I'm married to someone who used to be a medical resident. I understand what that's like, and the role of residents is absolutely critical in a teaching hospital scenario. And I hope that we can reach resolution I think, and that there's a hope for resolution in the next few months. But I really cannot comment on things that are actively in negotiation.
Next question. You, sir.
My name is Wendy Asplin. I work in international and English language programs in Continuum College. I am a faculty member there among a small faculty that teach English language programs to the international students here on this campus, including international teaching assistants. We are right now at a crossroads. We do not know what our future is going to look like. I'll just leave it at that. What I would like to know from you, Provost, is what is your view, your opinion, your thoughts about English language instruction here on this campus?
I will answer you very honestly that this is the realm of our Vice Provost for Continuum College, Roby Brannon, who's sitting right here, and I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you about this. I do not have a particular formed opinion about the future of that program. I know that it's a source of great concern to not only instructors but to Continuum College as well.
We have time for just one more question, and I pointed to you first, sir.
Provost, my name is Logan Westerman. I'm a 2L at the law school, who's also the treasurer for the Student Bar Association. As the other questions have noted, that there's several schools around here who are hurting financially, but the law school seems to be especially one of those. We've laid off 10 faculty in the past 3 years. Over 12 staff members were let go last year. And the students are visibly seeing the student experience decline. In fact, prospective students have said that we look like a sinking ship. What is the university doing to address this?
Thanks for that question. I will tell you that those questions are things that keep a lot of us up at night around here. The law school is in great financial difficulty. And we are committed to having a good law school at the University of Washington. But the truth of the matter is that prior to the hiring of our new dean, Mario Barnes, the law school was spending far beyond its means and is in serious debt. And the situation with their finances is such that we have a lot of uncertainty about exactly where they are financially right now. And for that reason, it's been difficult to authorize new faculty hiring and to maintain the staff. There's been a staff restructuring. My understanding is that that was accomplished by the people. Mario is our leader here, and that there was every effort made, of course, to preserve the functioning of the staff. But the hard part of this is that in our budgetary system on this campus, units are responsible for balancing their budgets. And the fundamental problem of the law school is that they're still out of balance significantly. And this is a responsibility for the central campus, but it's also a responsibility not only for the dean of the law school, but the faculty of the law school as well. So we are hoping to bring that budget into balance this year. That's by no means certain. And also get a better handle on the finances. But I want to assure you that many, many, many hours of work in Gerberding Hall as well as in the law school are going into trying to determine what the feasible financial future is for the law school and how to support it well. And we are committed to having an excellent law school.
With that, thank you, Mark. Thank you all for coming. Reception in the back.